Ladies and gentlemen, this is the missing piece in your life that you've been waiting for. Get ready to be entertained, inspired, and empowered as we dive into all things fabulous and fierce. Welcome to Gray and I Slay Podcast with your host, Susie Turner.
Welcome to Gray and I Slay Podcast. This is our very first episode, and we are so excited. Today's topic is going to be talking about children of aging parents and what things they need to know. So this is a much needed conversation, and we are happy to bring this to you on our very first episode. And so Gray and I Slay is about talking about pro-aging, lifestyle. We're going to be talking about health and hair. That's some of the things we'll be talking about in later episodes, but today's episode is geared towards children of aging parents. And I'm so excited to have with me today some special guests. First of all is my son to my left. He's the one in the room who has known me the longest.
That's right.
He has seen me in my ups and my downs. He's seen me in successes and failures. Mm-hmm. This is my son, Tim, and I'm glad to have you with me today.
It's good to be here.
Thank
good to
you.
be here. Thanks for having me.
And then my girlfriend, she's lovingly called YD, but Yvonne Dulaney and her son, Reggie. So glad to have you both. I met Yvonne at church many, many years ago. Mm-hmm. It's been a long time. And then we became friends outside of church. So we've been friends for a long time. So I'm going to let you introduce Reggie to us and just tell us some things about him.
Sure. This is my son, Reggie Dulaney. He is an engineer by trade. He owned a fitness facility, and now you are back into engineering, mm-hmm. And still working in that career currently, and also an entrepreneur. He has certainly known me all of his life. And so, just a wonderful, wonderful, loving son.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you could be here with me today.
Yes, me
glad
too.
to be here.
Absolutely. And then about Tim, I forgot to tell you this part. He is also an entrepreneur. He is I call him barber extraordinaire. He has his own shop mm-hmm. inside of Salon Lofts here in Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And the business is called?
Raise It Up.
Raise It Up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also a music producer, mm-hmm. has an album coming out in the next few weeks?
Actually, next Friday on the 14th.
Friday.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So before we get into our conversation, I want to ask both you and Tim, and I'll go with you first, Reggie. How is it seeing your parents, I'm not going to say age, but as she gets older, your mom and your dad, what kind of thoughts are you having? How are you feeling about that? So are you already making plans for them, or mm-hmm. what are you thinking? What do you think about
Mom seems to age in reverse.
Yes.
So it's
she does.
It's kind of hard to comprehend her not being able to do, what she's continued to do, even gotten better at doing. Seems to be getting stronger and more vibrant as life goes. Dad, he's had a lot of illnesses, a lot of things that have diminished his health. But ironically, through all those things, he seems to be getting stronger. Because when you think about the things that he's been through, he doesn't look like what he's been through.
I know.
So it kind of, but still, having said all that, we have made some accommodations. We just recently actually built a house where there's another room on the first floor, where just in case we do have to have somebody live with us, it's accommodating for them. And we have a first floor, everything's on the first floor, so everything's accessible. So just in case people can't get around or whatever the case may be. So those are the things that you kind of start thinking about when you're at this stage in your life. Not only I'm getting a little older, and I'm thinking, well, I don't really want to deal with steps and all those things, but also parents and my wife's parents, etc. They're getting a little older.
Yes.
So let's make some accommodations for them as well.
I love that. Tim?
Just growing up and, just seeing you, like as I get older, it's hard. I can't really see you getting older. You know what I mean? Because you're so like active and always working out and eat healthy and everything. So it's kind of hard to grasp that seeing that you getting older. And with my dad, I mean he's getting older too. And by the way, too, you have a very like youthful spirit, and you know what I mean. It's like walking around here like like an old person pretty much. But and even with my dad too, even though I don't I haven't seen him that much, but like every time I interact with him, he's like always like youthful and joking, always cracking jokes or whatnot. But it's kind of just hard to. I mean, I've thought about it, but it's kind of hard to grasp that that picture of like, oh man, my parents are getting older. I haven't really thought about that yet. So as far as like planning and everything, that hasn't really crossed my mind because like I said, this is like every time I see my parents, it's still young. Yeah, my mom, she's still useful, and doing this and that. So it's like yeah.
I know for me, like my dad, as I said before, he passed when he was 70, so that was kind of like unexpected, I guess. That's still young to me. But my mom, she was 100 years old when she passed. She made it to 100, even though she said she wasn't going to. She made it to 100. Wow. And then just watching her throughout the years, because she stayed active. And I think that's the key, is to stay active and keep moving, because she did. And even into her 90s, she was still traveling until she got to the point where she couldn't anymore. Yeah. And that was like 99.
Wow.
99 when she couldn't anymore. So, and at that point, that's when I started to see her start to go down. And when she went down, it was fast, real quick. Yeah. So I didn't get to see, which is a good thing, that she didn't linger years and not being able to do things for herself, not being able to travel. I didn't get to see any of that until like the last couple of months of her life. So that's what I keep saying. I made a pact with God. Okay, I want to be like my mom. Because she took care of herself, lived on her own until she had to have people come in the last 2 years of her life. She had to have round-the-clock care the last couple of years of her life. And so I said, I made a pact with God. I'm like, I want to be like my mom. I don't want to have to go live with Tim. I don't want to have to do that. Thinking about being put into a home. No. I don't want to go into assisted living. I want to be on my own. That's my thought. So what about you? Have you thought about that?
I have thought about it, and I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And my dad just recently passed. Yes. Hasn't even been a year yet. And he was 92. Wow. He was about to be 93. And, like you said, his life was full, and he didn't have a lot of health challenges at all until like that last maybe 8 months or so, that he started to decline a bit. And as I watched that, I was thinking about my mom and how this would affect her. And so, after he did pass on, I've been watching her continuously, and she has done very, very well. Wow. And she continues to try to do some of the same things as she did before, and she continues to try to be a little more active in terms of her exercising and things like that. So, and she's been staying on her own and has decided that is what she's going to do. Okay. So, I said, okay, because we offered her, do you want to come stay with us? Do you want to? She said, no, I want to be, She likes her independence. She likes her independence, and I love that for her, because I would be the very same way. I want to be independent for as long as I possibly can. That would be my goal in life. Exactly.
I love it. I love it. So have you thought about plans like for yourself as far as when you start, do you think about things? I do. We started having conversations, Tim and I. We've had initial conversations about finances, what I want, if I'm in a position to where I can't think for myself or I can't speak for myself, this is what I want you to do for me. So have you guys started to have conversations like that with you and Al?
We haven't. I've probably talked to Erica, my daughter, a little bit more. She wasn't able to be here today, and I hate that she couldn't come because she could offer a lot to this conversation. But Reggie and I have talked a little bit about it, and I've talked about doing a trust and having him involved with helping me to put that together, so that he knows and they both know everything that's happening in my finances, in our finances, and you know, how are we going to leave this and how are we going to leave that, and we're leaving property and all of those different things.
Right.
So we have talked about that, about getting that together very soon.
Yes. So, yeah. I know that was a tough for me when my mom would start to talk to me about what she wanted. It was hard. I couldn't do it. I kept saying no. I don't want to hear it. Which I know I needed to listen, but I didn't want to. That initial conversation, I didn't want to. You know, she was telling me where her paperwork was and stuff like that, which we need to have that a continuous conversation.
Right.
Just to make sure you know where everything is. That there's no guesswork. It takes the guesswork out.
It does.
It's too much stress to kind of think about your child trying to act on your behalf when they have no clue what you want, how you want to live if you're in a position to where you can't take care of yourself anymore.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think this conversation is so important for, just not only because I was telling a friend of mine about this conversation, they were saying, especially Black people, and I'm not sure if other ethnic groups have these conversations or not, but she was saying, especially Black people, we don't have conversations like this with our families. So,
At all.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So have you had conversations with your dad?
No, I haven't. But I mean, I'm pretty sure down the line, probably, have that conversation.
I know you guys have Zoom meetings.
Right. Yeah, we haven't had one in a while, but yeah, right. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, when that time will come up, we'll have that conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, this is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
think
think this is very important.
I think transparency is important,
Most definitely.
Exactly.
because a lot of times we don't tell what our financial situation really is. If we have debts, if we have things that, when people pass, all of a sudden it's a surprise that, man, they didn't have this together.
Right.
They didn't have this. Oh, I thought they were going to have this.
Yeah.
Where's the house go? What happens, if something happens and you have to put somebody in a home or whatever the case may be. Now, if your house isn't protected and your finances aren't protected, they're looking to liquidate.
Yeah.
So if those things aren't in place early, and it's not a hard conversation if you're used to being transparent and open to each other.
Right.
Then you can say, it's all under this trust. We have a life insurance policy, should pay out for this, that, and the third. Now everybody knows what's happening. I know we'll have money to bury you in that situation. But it just, like you said, it takes the load off. Now it's okay, I know exactly what to do, how it's supposed to happen. And
Yes.
when that time comes, we're ready.
And in that way, you don't have to go to the GoFundMe route or the fish fries. So that way, it should have. You gotta have that conversation because that way you know what's planned and what's prepared. So
Exactly.
yeah, you gotta
That's
have
true.
it.
Like my mom, she had everything. Everything was in the will except for the house. So it was almost 2 years before everything was settled because everything had to go to the court.
Probate.
Finances, bank account, life insurance, everything laid out. How she wanted her money to be split with her children. All that was in her will.
Wow.
Nothing regarding the house. So that held up everything.
Right.
And so we just got her things settled last year. Everything settled last year. So it's just so important. I keep thinking about that too. It's just so important to make sure you have everything because the court's going to get involved, and the court got involved with the house. So, yeah.
And
it's-
you're absolutely right. I know my dad, early on, he switched over any property that he had, like in North Carolina, switched it to my brother and I, because those things do come up. And afterwards, then it would be, okay, so what do we do with this? My mom was still living, so it would probably go to her. But, you have to think about all of those things.
Every single
You
thing.
know,
And even though Tim's an only child, on my side, he's an only child, I still have to have everything lined up. It has to be spelled out.
Yes.
I dotted, T crossed, even though he is, and you would just think everything would just go automatically to
but
him.
it doesn't
It's
necessarily.
not going to until I lay everything out. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, Yeah, we started having what we call our date night.
Yeah.
And just going out, just started talking about, just like I said, the initial
Life.
conversation.
Yeah.
Just talk about life and
Yeah.
what I want, even with my last days, what I want, because don't have me looking down going, Tim, that is not what I said. Don't make me
I
come
told you
back.
put that over there.
Don't make me come back. That is not the service I said I wanted.
The doors both open.
Like, who's that? Mom!
It's my mom.
That's Mom coming in to stop everything. So it's important just to lay everything out, what we want, how we want it.
It is. I know my aunt did that, and she sent everything to me. She said, "This is how I want everything. This is, my obituary." She wrote everything out, and so she sent it to me in the mail and said, "Now, when I pass on, you give this to my son," because he was an only child, and that's exactly what I did.
Wow.
It's like, okay, your mom gave me all of this, so I'm going to send this back to you, and you have everything that you need right there, just as she wanted it, and he was able to carry it out.
Yeah.
Just
And
like she
my
wanted.
mom, her service, she did say, she stressed that, I don't know how many, 50,000 times probably, that she did not want a dead service. And you were there. Her service
Yes, it was very much
fiery.
alive.
It was
Yes, it
very much
was.
alive from
Yep.
start to finish.
Yes.
Sure
So
was.
the exact way she wanted it. And my dad, they had already had their plots already, so we didn't have to worry about that. They had already, casket, all that stuff. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to hear this.
Right.
But they had already done all of that. So that took the guesswork out of trying to pick out something for her, where we're going to put her, what funeral, what cemetery.
Right.
Everything was just well thought about, except for the house. Everything. And I don't know, maybe she just wasn't thinking, or her attorney didn't make sure, which I don't understand why he didn't make sure the house wasn't in the will, but it wasn't. So, yeah. So, yeah. So it's just like I said, it's just so important to do that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, like I said, so this conversation is needed just, like I said, to just take the guesswork out, to make sure we cover everything with our families. Yeah. So again, another thing I wanted to talk about is, I know you talked about future plans to have your parents, if needed, to move into your home. You already got space for them, even like you said, your grandmother, your in-laws. So what made you think about, when you built your new home, just to have something like that for your family?
Well, I think that, for one, I think we've lost community, in a sense, in terms of our people. We spread out. We move all over the place, so it's very hard to take care of each other. And I remember when we didn't live, but when we would visit down south, we would see everybody's place was really close, like within walking distance. Aunt Shirley was down here. Aunt Catherine was right over there. Grandmama was right there. And since we don't have that anymore, now I did move probably less than a mile away from my parents now, but it's still something that I was like, man, if something happens, I want to be able to get there as fast as possible, or have them within our house so that we know, so that nothing catastrophic happens. So you get those falls, you get those things where those things can be avoided.
Yes.
So that's what made me kind of think ahead of the schedule. It wasn't something that happened per se, where I was like, man, that could have been avoided if somebody lived. It was just something that was just like, just more strategic. I like to try to be strategic when I can be. And that's all. It was just my line of thinking and my way of honoring my parents.
I love that.
That's good.
So when he told you about this, how did that make you feel when he told you what he was doing?
I was like, oh my gosh, you really think you really want to do that for us? Oh my, no. I thought it was really a great idea, even though I never planned to do that. But like you said, you don't know, life's, and so you have to be strategic and think about all those kinds of things so that when the curveball comes, you can catch it. You're ready.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like that. I love it.
And I think it's good to think ahead like that, because I know for me, myself, I wasn't thinking ahead like that, you know what I mean? But I think it's like good to have that plan, ahead, so that like if something does happen, like, all right, mom, you can, I got this room for you, you can, stay here or whatever, so you can have it situated.
I like that.
Let me add too, my wife also has a big part in that, because you have to have somebody that's willing to also take in, somebody that may not be, and we have good relationships. So you're not going to have any situation where somebody's not getting along.
Right.
So that's a critical part too.
It is. That's true.
So have either of you and Tim, have you thought about having conversation with your children yet about, or you just, that hasn't even entered your mind yet, talking to your kids about?
Yeah, it hasn't entered my mind at all.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it's something to think about, though. Absolutely.
And my wife is always telling my daughter, "Don't put me in a home." That's about the extent of the conversation.
Right.
She's like, "I know you'll probably take care of your dad, but me, don't put me in no home." But that's about as far as we've gone.
She's a girl dad.
Yeah.
And she's serious about that.
Yeah,
Don't put me in a home. That's why I say, don't be putting me in a home.
Yeah. My son, he'll take care of things. He's very
He would.
organized and buttoned up. But he felt like it was a need to tell Waverly. Don't put me in no home.
I can see Joshua probably more so. I don't know, Naya. She has that administrative personality.
Most
now,
definitely,
too, where
most
she'll
definitely.
take over and she's take charge.
Most definitely. Like I was telling my mom on the way over here, Charlotte, my wife, she was out of town last week, and my wife, she ordered a wall tree where you can hang your keys and like a shoe storage area and everything. She was out of town. I was at work. My daughter, she puts that together. Like opens up the box.
My.
It's like I come home like, you did this?
That's
I was bored, so I put it together. So
She has some administrative skills.
That's great.
absolutely, yeah. So I think we'll be
see
good.
her.
Josh, my son, he's more structured, and he's gonna be the planner. You know what I mean? So he's gonna plan it. He's probably gonna plan everything out, and so I mean they're great kids. So they definitely work. Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's true. I love this conversation. Like again, it's much needed. And then, like we said before, having a plan reduces anxiety because right now, mental health. We just got out of Mental Health Month, and so there's so many things that we could just take off of people to cause less stress. And so something like this, especially with a parent who passes away, like, my dad, I wasn't expecting him to pass away, even though I knew he was sick. But to have him pass away suddenly the way that he did, which causes stress and anxiety, right? And if you're not, my mom, she took care of everything. And plus they had basically talked about a lot of stuff. So she knew exactly what to do for him, what he wanted. But in the case where there's no conversation, there's nothing put in place, like Tim said, you have to go out and get a GoFundMe or fish fry and whatever. So that type of stuff is, leaving people with a lot of debt, as you mentioned before, is just, I don't know, I just see that unforeseeable that somebody would do that and have you go through just all types of ends, like especially like, when it's a child who passes away, and the family is not prepared. There's no life insurance for the child. I could see that happening for a GoFundMe, but for an adult, I can't see why something like that would, have to happen. In any case, I just don't see it, but I know that it does on a regular basis.
It does.
Yeah. Sometimes we just don't know.
You just exactly.
We don't get taught the important things in school or whatever, so it's up to your parents or somebody that you may link up with to kind of pass that information down. If it doesn't happen, you don't really know that those things are something that you can buy, how to do it, who to talk to do it, how to get it organized, and it can feel overwhelming if there's nobody that that's gone through the process. So we just have to be aware of what's even accessible. How do you set up a trust, the right type of trust that the government can't steal get access to and tied up in litigation and probate and all of that.
Yes.
How do you set up whole life policies that when you do go, that money can get passed down from generation to generation? So we have to start having those conversations and then execute, do it.
Yeah.
You know, we can't just talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
You gotta do it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
take
I
action.
mean, even knowing the difference between whole life and term life. You know,
Absolutely.
which one? Which
Exactly.
one do you go, which one do you do? You know? And like you, and I remember the conversation. I'm getting off track, but it's kind of like, you know, when you said your dad passed away, and your mom, you know, he was getting. I still just I don't know. He was getting his Social Security check, and she no longer got that money, so she lost almost $3,000 of money coming into her, which I think is just so. I just think it's wrong to do older people like that. To why the spouse couldn't be the beneficiary of his Social Security.
Correct. Just
Yeah.
because she had her own pension, and they finally relented and gave her some, but it is not near, you know, what he was getting. So it's a stark reality.
Yeah, start and
You know,
make you think. Stop
when
and
you
think about
when
that.
you think about that, and if you don't know, you know, I didn't know that was going to happen. I knew that I thought she would get something. Knew it wouldn't be the entire amount, but I certainly thought it would be more than what it is.
Yeah.
And so those things, you know, that reality hits you hard.
Yes.
You know. But yeah, so those are things that you have to think about and be prepared for, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have some good news coming up pretty soon. I keep saying I got 47 days.
That's right.
Then I'll be headed into, I keep saying semi-retirement, because I'm not going to be fully retired until next year. That's when I get, because I'm getting a package from
Right.
my job. So,
Yes.
so I'm not going to touch my 401k or my pension until next year. That's the plan. So, and I know you have that coming up too.
I certainly do. July 31st.
Yeah.
I'll be fully retired.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm already counting on my calendar every day. I'm like, oh, how many days do I have?
Countdown is on.
Oh, yeah. And what made me start doing it, because the security guard at work, I'm like, he's so funny. Because I'm just, I tell people, don't tell anybody. I want to tell people, because I want to see their faces when I tell them that I'm leaving. And a lot of times it's happiness. And then some people are like, what? I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I've had it. I've had enough. I'm out of here. And he was one of the ones who was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm like, nope, I'm out. And so he started counting down. So every day I come in, he'll say, 49 days. That's what he told me Friday. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? You're really counting my days. I went upstairs. I'm like, he's right. 49
Oh my
days.
gosh, that's hilarious.
That is.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just it's a different feeling.
It's
a
freeing.
different freeing. It's a different chapter of my life. Even though I'm not gonna be sitting around doing nothing, because I do
Right.
have my business that I'm going to be focusing on, and my podcast, growing my podcast, and things like that. So, that's not going to be sitting around doing nothing. I'm not going into retirement.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
but I'm looking forward to not having to go to, and if anybody listening from JP Morgan Chase, yes, I see. I am excited about not having to make that drive, and just being free from corporate. I mean, it's freeing.
It is.
It really is. Just to have so many people, just reach. This one lady who's in business banking reached out to me last week, and because somebody said something to her, so she was like, "Oh my God, I got to get you some funding, some for your business, and get you more involved into the community." I was like, "Okay." So she scheduled an appointment with me. I think we're not this week because she's on vacation, but the next week we're meeting.
That's
So
what it's
she
about,
can
you know?
show me some things on things I need to do, and make sure my taxes and things. I was like, because Chase is going to do it. Chase will make sure. She said it's all free. And I'm like, okay.
Nice.
Make sure my taxes are right. Even though I do have a tax guy, thanks to Yvonne. I have a tax person, but she's going to make sure that everything is right. My attorney, everything is right. So
There you go.
yeah, because I don't want to be in trouble about anything.
Right.
No legal troubles, no
Right.
tax troubles, anything. So yeah.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Like as far as like you start, starting your businesses and everything, was there like any like anxiety or like nervousness, as far as like, age and whatnot? It was like, I'm too old to do this. Maybe should I do this? Or
yes, and yes, and yes.
And how did you get over that?
So even with when I started doing because I started doing fitness first, and there's no age limit on fitness.
Right.
And that's why I told myself, even though I'm starting a business, there's a business for seniors that people they need to work out. And the thing is, and even right now, even though I'm not doing it, I'm not blowing it up right now, but hopefully one day I will. People are still reaching out to me. My old clients are reaching out, asking me when I'm coming back. And I told this one, Tina Allen, because I told her, I said, if my lifestyle changes, and I haven't told her, but if she's listened to this, she'll know that I'm going into, I won't be working for corporate America anymore. So I'm sure she'll probably reach out to me again. But I told her, I said, if anything changes within, corporate America lifestyle, whatever, I will let you know. And I said, I will let you know if I decide to pick that up again. And so, as far as like nervousness, being fearful, yes, that's all. I think it's always going to be present. I think fear is always going to be present, whether I want it to be or not. But it's how I manage the fear. It's how, which I did, because I don't let myself just sit and think about stuff. Anything that's going to be negative or make me think, okay, you can't do this because of your age. No.
Right.
No.
Talking yourself out of it.
Yeah, you got to talk to yourself. You have to, is it a scripture or a song that tell you have to encourage yourself. Yes. And that's what I do. I encourage myself. And I have things on my mirror in my bathroom, sayings and scriptures that I look at every single day. To tell myself, girl, you got this. And that's why I tell myself, look in the mirror and go, girl, you got this. That's how I talk to myself.
Yeah, that's how you got to be.
That's how you have to be. So, fear tries to come, and it will come, but that's how I choose to do it. Just to talk to myself and tell, and then I visualize myself doing things, doing great things. That's what I tell myself. This one lady at work Friday, we had our one-on-one, because I still have one-on-ones with my people. And so, she was like, we were talking, and I said something like, because she was like counting the days down too, and she said, you only have like 49 days. I said, I know. And I said, but I'm getting ready to go out here, and I said, I'm going to crush it. And she goes, you are going to crush it. She said, I see you crushing it. And so in work, they tell us not to follow each other on social media, because, I don't know why, but in HR, I don't know, but she went out and she followed me on every single thing. I got home and I saw she did this, she liked that, followed me here, followed me there. She says, no, I'm following you.
Oh, that's awesome.
She said, I can see you doing great things.
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so even though, go ahead.
I was going to say, the reason why I asked too, because, I do music as well. And I took like a 10-year break from music. And I just recently started getting back into it about 2-3 years
Yes,
ago.
I follow you.
But when I was getting back into it, I was like, man, am I, I'm in my 40s now, because there's a lot of ageism in hip hop. So like, if you're like 40 or 30 and up, it's like, oh man, too old, this and that. But I've went through those thoughts as well, and like you said, you just gotta just talk yourself out of it. Like you got this, you got this.
You can do it.
There's no age on this.
I can do anything.
Right.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So, do you guys have like any side hustles that you guys are contemplating at this?
I'll let you talk about your.
Oh, how about properties?
Oh, I love it.
I flip some, I hold some. I just closed on one a couple days ago.
Nice.
So that's enjoyable to me.
Okay.
I'm always looking for another way to invest.
Yes, absolutely. And that's
just
one of the
generate
great ways.
Yes. Generate cash flow.
Yes.
Generate something that builds up some equity, so that if I do have something to pass, which I will, pass to the children, it's like, hey, you can do with this whatever you want to do with it. You can either sell it, and you're going to have some funds within it, or you can hold it. It's generating income. So that's my primary thing right now is real estate.
Okay, so your fitness business
I sold that.
You sold that, okay.
Yep. Got kind of tired of fitness.
Okay.
Not for myself, but trying to peddle it to others. It was, I have my own ideas about that, but I don't, it's like if you don't want, I shouldn't have to sell it to you. Like that's something that, and it's very hard to convince somebody that they need to be fit and to teach somebody how to eat. It's like kind of need to do all things. For me, and my thought is you do all things how the Most High wants you to do them and how He's telling you to do it. And I think most people know they're not eating right. Most people know they're not exercising appropriately. But what do you need me for? To a large degree. And after a while, I kind of got jaded, I think, over time, with the same things. Like, let's get to the chase. You're lazy. You don't want to. You don't feel like doing it. And once you admit that, now we maybe can go to work.
Yeah, there you go.
But very few people admit that. So yeah, it's like, man, 2 out of 20 people are willing to do the things that it takes to get what they say they want to get. So that's kind of why I steered away from that.
Yeah, that would be kind of discouraging. I see that.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I've always been interested in real estate as well.
Okay.
And I had toyed with it a little bit in terms of buying buying a property and looking at, kind of got into a bad partnership.
Okay.
But now that, once I retire, I plan to work with him on maybe investing in some of the different things that he might do and things like that. So I'm kind of looking forward to maybe partnering a little bit on some of those kinds of things. Because I do like that. I really do.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I'm kind of toying with that too, because I have a cousin who I just met. It's before my mom passed away. I just met him, and but he just realized that we were family. And so anyway, so it's been maybe like a couple of years, and he called me last week, and he's all into property investing. He holds like seminars, and so he's supposed to be he told me like the Cleveland area, having a seminar. I think it's supposed to be sometime this summer. And so he asked me to come and listen. And I said, okay, because I want to get involved in, because he has done very, very well. Very well for himself. So, and he's older. He's an older gentleman too. Retired, I think Army. And I know he was in the service. I'm not sure which branch, but I think it was Army. And but he has done very well. And they live in North Carolina, Greensboro area. It's where he and his wife live. Yeah. And he's even came after he found us as his family. He bought properties up in Kingsport, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he has properties there.
Nice.
And he does a lot of flipping. He does a lot of flipping. But he has properties where he's got tenants and things, and he's just he's done very well. But I am interested in some real estate, because I think that'd be great way to invest too. So, but the legacy thing, that's my biggest concern, is like leaving things for Tim. That's what I told him, and I always say, I have grandchildren. I want to make sure my grandchildren, so everything's just not going to go to you.
Right.
Because I want to make sure my grandchildren are taken care of. He goes, Mom, I got it. I won't do that. I'm like, I know you won't, but I just want to just have it all laid out. Yeah, I know, right? Sure. I just want to have it all laid out.
Yeah, we're taking a trip down to North Carolina early August, because they need to know what we have there, what properties are there, where it is. They need to know all those things. They knew we had it, didn't know exactly where. So we're going to go down, show them everything, get the map where all this is, so they know what is theirs, and so what will become theirs.
Very good. So they're both going? You taking them both down?
Taking him down first, and then because Erica's going to be in some training, so she couldn't go.
Okay.
So he's going to go, and we'll kind of videotape everything for her, and then she can come down later.
Oh, sorry, that's my phone. Okay. Yeah. Very good. I think that's awesome. I love that. So anybody have any other questions? Just so glad that you guys made my first episode. Oh my goodness, great, nice slay.
Great.
This was awesome.
The producer over there, John Ray. He was making sure we started on time, so.
Yeah, no, this was good. This was
Yeah.
real good.
Great conversation,
Yeah,
very
sure
needed
was.
conversation. I
exactly.
appreciate you doing that.
Oh,
Yeah, so
most
I'm gonna make sure
definitely.
that we didn't leave anything out for our audience. We covered everything. You guys think we covered? I know we couldn't cover everything, but we got through some things.
Yeah.
So we may have to come back and do another conversation
Part two.
talking about
Yes.
to talk about wills, to talk about trust that you guys brought up. Because like I said, I know there's that part of
Yes,
for
the
Tim
will.
that I need to. The will is okay, but just like the trust part to make sure, even though you have a will, you still need to have a trust.
Right.
Yeah, which I didn't realize that until my mom passed away. I'm like, oh my gosh, she has a will, but there has to be a trust.
Yep.
Yeah, because you don't want things to go into process. This was good.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Thank you, Susie.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you
much.
guys.
Yeah,
I
thanks for having
appreciate
us.
you guys.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're ending our first episode of Gray and I Slay. Stay tuned. And again, I want to tell you guys too that the music that you're hearing on the intro and outro,
Aw.
this
All
guy,
right.
this guy right here,
Nice.
this guy right here, Proud Mama. So you'll hear that. And if you how do they reach you on? Are you on social media?
No, I'm not really on social media.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
You can follow me on Instagram. It's Tim Twice. It's TIM number 2 WICE.
And the reason he's Tim Twice is because my mom, your cousin, nicknamed him Tim.
Tim.
Oh.
Right.
So that's where Tim Twice comes from.
Yeah. And I'm the second too. So.
Yeah, and he's that's clever. Yeah. My mother, till the day she passed away, he was Tim.
Awesome.
Yeah, she never stopped calling him Tim.
Tim,
My
is it
sister.
Tim or Timbo?
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah.
So that's where Tim Twice. Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll put all that information down in the description of the program. So be sure to subscribe, like, and share. And if you have any suggestions for other conversations, please put those down in our comments. We appreciate you being with us today and look forward to more time with us. Have a great day. Thank you for following us. Today's podcast is proudly sponsored by Gray and I Slay, our stylish clothing line celebrating the beauty and strength of aging with elegance. GrayandISlay.com.